Salt Lake City, Utah. A hometown hero emerges.
Catches Clay Collard.
Moved back to Utah to train with his original coach.
A fan favorite whose close calls now have him on the road to redemption.
And that's the end. Catch Clay Collard.
Standing in his way is the Danish challenger.
And that's it, Matt Burnell.
Plus, a host of other ruthless lightweights.
Here comes Pitbull.
Fighting to make this their year.
Oh, my God!
For the light heavyweights, the first half of the season had 5 explosive first-round finishes.
Oh, and there's the finish. 6 points. Mark got it instead of the first-round finish, and he stops it in round 1.
Who will prove playoff worthy?
Oh, boy.
The returning champion, the new contender, or one of the former champs back to claim the throne.
Oh, there it is! PFL champion!
Who's got what it takes?
Oh!
Who's moving on to the playoffs?
Clay Collard!
And who's going home?
$1 million!
This is the PFL in Salt Lake City.
A lovely afternoon in Salt Lake City, Utah. Perfect for a weigh-in as we get ready for more regular season action in the PFL. That building right there on the University of Utah campus, the Huntsman Center, plays host to light heavyweights and lightweights. Cassius Clay Collard, Mads Burnell in your main event. Impa Kasanganay, Jakob Neto in the co-main, and a host of other incredible matchups. Welcome, PFL fight fans, to the weigh-ins and my hometown of Salt Lake City. We're pushing toward the playoffs in earnest now. If you're not familiar with the PFL format, let me explain it for you. We have a regular season with 10 different fighters in each weight class, 6 different weight classes. 2 regular season fights for each fighter, 3 points for a win, bonus points for a finish in any round, and the top 4 fighters on points in each division make the playoffs. At the end of the playoffs, a $1 million championship and a beautiful gold belt await our challengers. Our main event tomorrow night is in the lightweight division. Let's take a look at the lightweight standings for now. Mikhail Dufault, Clay Collard, and Brent Primus all earned second-round finishes in their first regular season fight, good enough for 5 points. Elvin Espinoza with a beautiful flying knee, come-from-behind victory. That gave him 4 points. Gaji Rabanov grinds out a decision in his first bout for 3 points. And speaking of that main event, there is the most exciting lightweight on planet Earth. Clay Collard happens to be a Utah boy, fighting for the first time in his home state in many years, and it happens to be a main event. Mads Burnell is looking to spoil the party. Collard has points. Burnell needs them. He'll be seeking a finish tomorrow night. That's Tyron Woodley. That's Randy Couture. I'm Sean O'Connell. Happy to be here as we push toward the playoffs. Let's talk about Clay Collard. Oh, so close a season ago, and he came in with renewed focus. Now he's got a main event in his home state.
Yeah, here's the guy that when everybody else was locked down in 2020, he had 9 boxing matches, derailed some top prospects. He's a well-rounded game. His striking is on point. The boxing is phenomenal. The pinpoint accuracy, the shots to the body, the wrestling prowess. He started wrestling at 10 years old as well. This guy is an amazing fighter and brings it every single time he steps under that smart cage. It does not matter who he faces. He's always tough, and he loves to bring the show.
And when you're trying to match up somebody like Clay Collard in a main event, in a hometown fight, who in this division is going to make that an interesting fight? Who is going to give Clay Collard everything he can handle? Well, the answer is Mads Burnell.
I mean, he's an extreme couture product. When you look at Mads Burnell, you think about him being a jiu-jitsu specialist, right? And Randy Couture probably will co-sign or piggyback on the fact that he should lean on that submission attempt. He should be looking to close the gap, looking to finish by submission, because he's fighting against someone that's shown us that he's extremely diverse in his striking abilities, and he has to get the job done by finish, and that's what he needs to do to get the job done.
Mads understands the assignment. He knows he's got to get the finish. Brett Okamoto is always part of our broadcast team, at least when we can convince him to join us. He's here in Salt Lake City, and he's got more on our main event.
Yeah, no convincing necessary for this main event, Sean. I mean, when this thing was announced, I circled this date on my personal calendar because I just want to see Clay Collard compete in this environment, this atmosphere. You know, he's just such a fan favorite across the sport worldwide, but the way in which he carries himself and the action in his fights, I think that this atmosphere is going to be absolutely electric. You know who is also a fan of Clay Collard? It's Mads Burnell. Here is what he had to say about his upcoming opponent tomorrow.
Yeah, I've seen Clay fight, and I respect him a lot as a fighter. He's a true fighter. A lot of these dudes is 10-0, 15-0, this and that and 0, but it's because they fought nothing but cab drivers, and you can't say that about Clay. That's a true fighter's record he got, and nothing but respect for that.
Mads Burnell's an exciting matchup. It's great for the fans. It's great for my fight style. If he tries to stand there and box with me a little bit, he's gonna end up getting hurt. I'm gonna start taking it to him in the first round. He's gonna try to wrestle. We're gonna come out that second round. We're gonna put him out.
Absolutely no cab drivers on the resume of Clay Collard, littered with some of the biggest names of the sport that Clay has been in the smart cage with. We'll see what type of fight that we get. I know what kind of fight that Clay always wants. I know what kind of fight all the fans in this arena are going to want. What kind of fight does Mads Burnell want? I believe that he's going, you know, Clay always says this, I think, about all of his opponents. They're going to come in and they're going to stand with me until they feel my power. Then they're going to turn into a wrestler. We'll see what happens tomorrow night, guys.
Highly anticipated main event. Our co-main will take place in the light heavyweight division. Here's your 205-pound standings. Rob Wilkinson, Josh Rivera, Davletson Yagshinmuradov, Impaka Sunganai, and Antonio Carlos Jr. all earned first-round finishes in the first half of the regular season. That means 6 points apiece. That means a log jam, and to find a spot to gain separation, you're going to have to put in some work. Last year's champion, Impaka Sunganai, looking to maintain his reign on the 205-pound weight class here in the PFL. The challenger tomorrow night comes from Slovenia. He won a European PFL championship in 2023. He lost his first global regular season fight, and that means Jakob Neto is looking for the finish, and the finish early on. All right, let's talk about Impaka Sunganai. He's looked great. He's coming off a big win. When you talk to the man, he's so focused. It feels like he's at the best point in his career. Is he on his way to another championship?
I mean, 2023 light heavyweight PFL season champion. You look at Impa, he's had a great season through the challengers. He went on and took gold in the PFL entire season. When you look, he's made it look fairly easy. And I think that when you watch him fight, he's fighting against somebody that has to get the job done in the first round. Be alert, be prepared early on.
Randy, it's one of our favorite things about the second half of the regular season is these fighters, especially late in a card like this, they know exactly what's at stake. Jakob Neto is going to come into this fight, and he's going to know how quickly he needs a finish against somebody like Impa. Easier said than done, finishing Impaka Sunganai. What's the key for Neto?
Well, Neto has to come out and do exactly what Neto does. He has 8 victories going through the PFL Europe Championship last year and 8 finishes. He's going to need those finishes to get the job done here against Impa. You can see the striking is on point. He's got naturally heavy hands. His ground and pound is good. He's got decent wrestling. He's a very, very well-rounded fighter with the ability to finish you if you stand around in front of him. That is no small task against Impaka Sunganai, though.
Talking to Jakob Neto was really interesting because he knows that he's got to get the quick finish, but he also is so desperate for a win here because that last outing where he got the loss in the first half of the regular season, it's the first time in 9 years that he had tasted defeat. So he wants to get that bad taste out of his mouth. Going to be a really interesting co-main event. Now let's look at the rest of our main card. This will begin 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN and simulcast on ESPN+. We told you about the main and the co-main. The Tricky Pitbull and Bruno Miranda are squaring off. Rob Wilkinson, Josh Silveira, that's a really interesting one. Doublets on Yaxi Muradov is a big favorite over Simone Bion. And Shoeface, who won the light heavyweight championship back in 2021, he's a favorite as well. Easy Palisi. Rob Wilkinson in 2022 made it look simple, walking through the light heavyweight division on his way to $1 million check and that gold belt. He's back trying to do it again. Standing in his way tomorrow night, Josh Silveira, last year's runner-up, the son of a fighting family, an incredibly well-rounded mixed martial artist. He'll look to pull off the upset in Salt Lake City. Let's talk about Razor Rob Wilkinson. 2 years ago, like I said, it didn't even seem to be hard for him getting it done and all the way to a championship. And in his first outing, it looked like maybe he had regained some of that momentum.
Yeah, near perfect season in 2022 with 4 finishes, only one of those coming in the second round. And that's the near perfect part. The guy's striking is on point. He had dropped a fight in the UFC, went about shoring up his striking, 30 kickboxing matches and a kickboxing title. And you see the knees up the middle, the razor sharp, heavy hands. This guy brings a total game. He's got 7 submissions to his victories as well. So he's very, very well-rounded. Can he go out and get it done and keep it rolling?
I don't know if Rob Wilkinson has fought someone as well-rounded as Josh Silveira, at least not recently. We've seen Silveira finish fights standing. We know he's got the jiu-jitsu and wrestling credentials. What's the key for Silveira?
You know, looking at Josh Silveira, he's from a family of fighting. Cornel Silveira is a legend. When you look at his pedigree, you know that he's built for moments like this. As a high-level Division I athlete, you have to be prepared to compete in high-pressure situations, make weight often, and either prevent injuries or compete with injuries. He's going to utilize that, and I think that's an advantage for him with the season format. He's already been in the finals before. He knows what it feels like. I expect to see him hungry, looking to go and try the next level.
Both of these guys heading into this fight have 6 points. A win gets them into the playoffs, but are they going to be able to find separation from even their opponent? It makes for a really stellar matchup in the light heavyweight division. We'll start the night on ESPN+. 3 showcase bouts and then regular season action. Mikhail Dufour and Adam Piccolotti in the lightweight division will be our first fight tomorrow night with points and a spot in the standings on the line. Gaji Rabanov, Elvin Espinoza, both of those guys have points. Saddam Hussein and Tom Breeze, they're sitting at 0 right now. They're going to need a finish. Brent Primus and Solomon Renfro, very interesting matchup as our feature in the lightweight division. Primus, the favorite there. Without any kind of further ado, we are here for the weigh-ins. Let's get the fighters to the scale. Andy Shepard, the voice of our Smart Cage, is in the building.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, you can feel that we are at a high altitude here in Salt Lake City. And that's fitting because tomorrow night the stakes could not be higher as the PFL regular season continues. Who will get the job done and book their place in the playoffs? Come and join us and find out. The action begins at 5 p.m. Eastern live on ESPN+. Now, let's welcome our president of fighter operations to weigh us in, Ray Sefo.
First bout of the evening will take place in the featherweight division. Brian Sorcher and Julian Ruiz.
Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Mill Creek, Utah, Julian Ruiz.
I know this guy. I know his coach. Very excited at this opportunity. Does
Ruiz
not want to waste it.
145 and 1/2 pounds.
Aside from Collard, the only local on the card.
And his opponent in the red corner, fighting out of Jala de Chelas, Nayarit, Mexico, Brian Sorcher.
Both of these guys coming in undefeated. Brian Sorcher has double the experience of Julian Ruiz, at least as a pro, a veteran of our Challenger Series, looking to climb into the global season.
Official weight 146 pounds.
little conversation between these two rising prospects in the featherweight division. Up next, a showcase bout in the light heavyweight division. Andrew Sanchez, Carl Albrechtsen.
Next, in the blue corner, fighting out of Stockholm, Sweden, Carl Albrechtsen. Carl hits the scales at 205 1/4 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Shiloh, Illinois, Andrew Sanchez.
Four-time NAIA All-American at McKendree University.
Sanchez weighs in at 204 3/4 pounds.
Albrechtsen not a stranger to high-level competition. He's fought Yuri Prohashka. He fought Valentin Moldavsky. Up next, a lightweight showcase contest. Anthony Romero, Sergio Cosio.
Introducing, fighting out of the blue corner, from Durango, Mexico, Sergio Cosio.
You can see with that record, a lot of experience for this guy making his PFL debut.
Official weight 156 pounds.
Once fought 6 times in a single year. That was back in 2016. Excited about the opportunity to join the PFL roster.
And his opponent in the red corner, fighting out of Welland, Canada, Anthony Romero.
Anthony Romero one time fought Olivier Aubin-Mercier in the 2023 PFL regular season.
55 3/4 pounds.
That's the last time we saw him. Looking to get back on a win streak. Up next, Mikhail Dufal, Adam Piccolotti squaring off for points and a place in the standings.
Next up, in the blue corner, fighting out of Half Moon Bay, California, Adam Piccolotti.
One of the many talented fighters who came over as part of this 2024 season from the Bellator roster.
155 3/4 pounds.
Was on his way to a likely victory in his first fight against Elvin Espinoza, but then got caught with a flying knee.
And in the red corner, fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Mikhail Dufour.
There's a lineage coming out of Quebec. Georges St. Pierre, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, Mikhail Dufal
156 pounds.
wants to be counted in that same conversation by building some momentum and chasing a championship here. He's currently in first place in the lightweight division. Up next, Gaji Rabadnov and Elvin Espinoza.
First, in the blue corner, fighting out of Miami, Florida, Elvin Espinoza. Elvin weighs in at 155 3/4 pounds.
Espinoza, a veteran of the Challenger Series, now in the global season and still undefeated as a pro.
And in the red corner, fighting out of Dagestan, Russia, Gazi Rabadnov.
When you watch Gadji Rabadnov, you'll see a style that's very familiar. He's coming from the Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov school.
156 pounds.
Oftentimes cut and paste with the clean striking and the dominant wrestling. He's got 3 points going up against Espinoza's 4 in the standings. Light heavyweight contest next. Sada Boucher and Tom Breeze.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Birmingham, England, Tom Breeze.
Tom Breeze is well-rounded, but in this one he might make it grappler versus striker. He being the grappler with 13 pro victories.
206 pounds.
By submission.
And his opponent in the red corner, fighting out of Stockholm, Sweden, Sada Boucher.
2022 PFL welterweight champion Sada Boucher made the jump to 205 this year.
Sada Boucher weighs in at 205 1/4 pounds.
First fight against Josh Severa ended with an injury. He dislocated his thumb pretty gruesomely. That end of the fight. Both of these men need points, need first round finishes. Lightweight action here. Brent Primus and Solomon Renfro.
First up, in the blue corner, fighting out of Cleveland, Ohio, Solomon Renfro.
It's finish or go home for Renfro. Once competed in the PFL at 170 pounds, feels this is a more natural weight class.
Renfro hits the scales of 156 1/2 pounds.
Missed weight, 0.4 over, so he'll be penalized in the standings.
Next up, in the red corner, fighting out of Portland, Oregon, Brent Primus.
When you're talking about lightweights, you don't always talk about how big that person is, because they're lightweights. Brent Primus doesn't look, carry himself, or fight like a lightweight.
He looks more like a light heavyweight.
3/4 pounds.
No lack of confidence from Renfro despite the weight miss. £205 action, Antonio Carlos Jr. and Alex Easy Polisi.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Beloit, Wisconsin, Alex Polisi. Alex weighs in at 203 1/2 pounds.
Needs a first round finish.
In the red corner, fighting out of João Pessoa, Brazil, Antonio Carlos Jr.
He's a guy with amazing pedigree in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and 2021 PFL champion. Naturally heavy hands, very, very well-rounded fighter.
Up next, doublets on Yagshin Muradov, Simon Bion.
First up, in the blue corner, fighting out of Genova, Italy, Simone Billon.
Very tall for a light heavyweight. It's 6'5".
Feel like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Official weight 203 3/4 pounds.
Still weighted well below the limit. Wild.
And in the red corner, fighting out of Ashgabat, Turkmenistan, Durbletsan Yukshamaradov.
Coming off a big first round finish. Durbletsan, our only fighter to represent Turkmenistan. 6 points.
Official weight 205 pounds.
He looks good as a blonde.
So win of any kind gets Dovlet in. Simone Billon needs a first round finish.
Is she using a unique situation where you like, does he play it safe? And, you know what I mean? Look out for himself in the first round, or does he go all in? He normally goes all in.
Light heavyweight feature up next, Rob Wilkinson and Josh Silveira.
Introducing first in the blue corner, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, Josh Silveira.
2023 runner-up, 6 points under his belt. A win of any kind gets him in the playoffs.
Josh hits the scales at 206 pounds.
I know Josh very, very well since he was a young kid in the American Top Team. He always had his eyes on becoming a champion, so he's been chasing this for a long time.
And his opponent in the red corner, fighting out of Hobart, Tasmania, Rob Wilkinson.
So interesting, we've seen so many of these athletes go up a weight class in the
Official weight
PFL
for
and
Rob,
have so much more
204
success
and 3/4
when they stop
pounds.
cutting all the weight, and Rob is a perfect example of that.
The battle of the mullets. We really didn't mention that yet. They said loser cuts the mullet off.
That's asking too much, T. Wood.
Way too much.
It's Brazil versus Brazil in this one. Patricky Pitbull and Bruno Miranda.
First up in the blue corner, fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Bruno Miranda.
Bruno has a very strong striking background. We've seen him, especially in the clinch and
Bruno
close
comes
in,
in at
be very, very, very tough.
154.5 pounds. And his opponent in the red corner, fighting out of Rio Grande do Norte, Brazil, Patricky Pitbull.
Any man walking around with 17 knockouts on his resume is somebody you have to be looking out for a season set up like this.
Official weight for Pitbull, 155 pounds.
Those knockouts you're talking about, a record in Bellator for Patricky Pitbull. Bruno Miranda knows what it's like to go up against a legend. He wants to knock off one of the Pitbull brothers. Impa Kasunganai and Jakob Neto at 205 pounds. And look at that. Last time these guys were inside a cage together, it was because Impa wrapped the European belt around Jakob Neto's waist. Great show of respect between these two. Thought this matchup might be coming.
First up in the blue corner, fighting out of Ljubljana, Slovenia, Jakob Neto.
This is a big, powerful light heavyweight, and he's desperate for
weight,
points.
206 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, Impa Kasunganai.
2023 light heavyweight champion Impa Kasanganay. 6 points to his name. Wants the victory here and the #1 seed. Just a win gets him in, but he will not be waiting around.
Impa steps on this scales at 204 3/4 pounds.
You can see the size difference there. Impa was never a large light heavyweight. We'll see if that speed and size becomes a factor in this fight. Second half of the regular season and a push to the playoffs in our co-main event. Here's your tail of the tape. Impa Kasanganay, 30 years of age. Jakob Neto, only 27. Neto's the taller fighter here, 3 inches taller, but you can see they do have an equal reach on the arms. Very slight advantage for Jakob Neto on the legs. All right. Tyron pointed it out. These matchups where one guy's got 6 points and the other opponent has 0 makes it really interesting. For Jakob Neto, who needs that finish, how does he manage this fight?
I think he's got to wade through Impa and try and use those long-range weapons and land those big, heavy hands that he has. Those natural. It's his only option. Haven't seen him do any submissions. He's got 8 finishes, though. He can go out and finish guys, and that's exactly what he needs to get done in the first round.
Jakob Neto's with Brett Okamoto.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Well, Jakob, of course, everybody wants points. They want as many points as possible. But what would just a win over the caliber of a fighter of Impa, what would that say about you as a fighter?
That will gain me some reputation and a lot of respect here. And I think I deserve this. And I want to show fans and PFL that I really belong here. And yeah, this is my main objective. Points are points, but win is a win.
Yeah, it absolutely would. And what is the key? What is the key to beating this guy tomorrow night?
Be smart, big punches, and put a smart pressure on him and do no mistakes.
Very much looking forward to it. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Sean, back to you.
Now let's talk about the other side of this equation. Impa Kasanganay, he's got 6 points, but so do 4 other guys in this division, and this fight will be the last in the regular season for the light heavyweight division. So he's going to go into this bout, walking into the cage. He'll know exactly what he needs to do to earn that #1 seed, exactly what he needs to do to get into the playoffs. How does Impa handle this?
Sean, when you think about Impa, he's grown on us. We've seen him go from the challengers. We've seen him go all the way to get gold. He's shown a lot of these contestants that it's possible to win that $1 million check. What he needs to do is be laser focused, don't make any mistakes. And though his opponent said he wants just to get the win, we know he's going to come out looking for that finish in the first round. He needs to do what he's capable of doing and really make no errors early on.
Brett has Impa.
Thank you, Sean. And Impa, this is your 6th fight in 12 months, man. I mean, usually guys do that in the first year of their career, not after they've won a championship in 2023. What has this schedule been like for you?
I'm doing what I love. You know, I love to fight. I'm grateful the PFL has so many fights. We get to stay active. You know, for me, it's a joy. I'd fight more if I could. I told him, let me fight Bellator 185 and let me fight PFL 205. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I come from a great gym at Kill Cliff, you know, and PFL's doing wonderful things. So I'm doing what I love, and when I love it, my body's just like, I'm blessed, you know, to keep working and doing what I get to do. But yeah, looking forward to many more.
Absolutely, man. Well, you know, one of the unique things about tomorrow night is that some of you got 6 points, others have 0 points, you know, so we're going to be watching how that affects the way the fights play out. How do you anticipate him coming out in that first round?
Jacob Nadeau, it doesn't matter points or not. He's a champion. He's done well. He's a good fighter. He's got a good coach and a great team. He comes to fight. I believe that he wants this opportunity. I believe he wants to get it. You know, Friday night I'll claim my victory. It doesn't take anything from him. He's a good man. He's a good guy. And, yeah, I've known him for, you know, decently well. But tomorrow night I have a job to do. Take him out. Honor God, do my job.
Always enjoy watching you compete, man. Best of luck. Sean?
And that will bring us to our final order of business on the scales. Clay Collard and Mads Burnell.
Introducing first, in the blue corner, fighting out of Husum, Denmark, Matt Burnell. Official weight 155.5 pounds. And in the red corner, fighting out of Burley, Idaho, Clay Collard.
Anybody who's seen Clay knows exactly how Clay's going to walk up in that cage and how he's going to fight. He's going to let those hands go, put pressure on you, grips to the body, and pinpoint accuracy with those hands. And his wrestling defense is stellar.
Here's your main event tale of the tape. Clay Collard is 31 years of age. Mads Burnell is a year younger. Collard, the taller fighter here, a full 4 inches on the measurement. And 6-inch advantage on the arm reach goes to Clay Collard. Mads Burnell comes in confident. He wants to spoil the party. He knows that Clay is the hometown favorite here. Doesn't matter to Mads.
He needs to make sure that he has packed his Japanese necktie. He needs to make sure that he brings it with him to Salt Lake City tomorrow night when they fight. Because when you look at his record with 18 victories, now submission, 4 by the one I alluded to earlier, that is what he specializes in. Sometimes we get into a pride fight. We need to recognize we're in a prize fight. He needs to put himself in the best situation in case to come out victorious with an early submission.
Mads Burnell is standing by with Brett Okamoto.
Thank you so much, Sean. And Matt, pretty calm there on the stare down. And how are you feeling going into this such a big opportunity facing this guy in his hometown?
To me, it's a fight like any other. Like, I'm just going to go in there and do me, and there's no need for all the bull when we stand face to face. Like, we're going to fight tomorrow anyway, so why even bother?
You are going to fight tomorrow, and when you do, this arena is going to be filled with people who probably want to see you lose. How do you think you're going to react to that?
Yeah, I don't care. Like, it's just going to be me and Clay, like, in there. I mean, if anybody wants something afterwards, they can get up and get a clap. So, yeah, I don't care.
For you, it's a win-or-go-home situation. How is that going to impact how you approach this fight?
I'm going to approach this fight like any other fight. Like, I'm not thinking about points or anything. I'm just going to go in there and do me, and whatever happens, happens. Like, there's another season next year as well. So, you know, I'm just going to go in there and do me. I get him out the first round, great. The second round, great. The third round, great. Whatever happens, happens. It's a fight, so, yeah.
I can't wait to see it, man. Best of luck. Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
Sean, back to you.
Mads, he pointed out something that, to me, I think is important about the PFL format, right? Yes, everyone wants a championship in 2024. But just like all other major sports, you hit the reset button. If it doesn't go so well this year, there's always next year. Just something to think about as we look at some of these matches. Brett Okamoto now has Clay Collard.
Yes, sir. I'm here with the man of the hour, Clay Collard, and this event is built around you, man. You are the main event. You are going to be who these people come to watch tomorrow night. How does that feel, knowing that all eyes are on you tomorrow night?
Man, I'm super stoked to be home and fight in front of my friends and family, and I just hope I put on a show like I'm hoping.
You are known, obviously, Clay, for a certain type of fight. Do you see Mads as the type of guy who's going to reciprocate that? Are we going to get a traditional Clay Collard fight tomorrow night in your home state?
We're hoping so, man. Mads is game, so, you know, I know he's going to bring it, and we're stoked to, you know, put it to the test.
If you had to guess, at what point in the fight will we see Mads' first takedown attempt?
30 seconds, minute and a half, I don't know. He could be trying to fool me and then slip in and grab me, so I don't know.
Well, you're always entertaining, man. When this event was announced, I was so happy to hear it was in Salt Lake. I get a chance to see you compete in your home state. Really looking forward to it, Clay. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you to the fighters, of course. Randy, one thing that's really interesting about Clay Collard, I call him the most exciting lightweight on the planet, not just because he has the skill and he makes a fight exciting, but he finds ways to get his opponents to fight his style of fight as well.
He absolutely does. He has this ability to draw you into that same type of fight that he wants. It makes him look good, that allows him to use those specific skills that he has in a very unique fashion. It's very fun to watch.
And he's usually beating up the body while he does
Yeah.
Sure. Just nasty. Business is all done. Fighters are weighed in. Everybody made weight save one. And we are ready to step into some real fight action, the push to the playoffs in earnest in the lightweight and light heavyweight division. Early card begins 5 Eastern on ESPN+. Main card at 8 Eastern, simulcast on ESPN and ESPN Plus as well. It's Salt Lake City, the hometown boy in the main event. Be here with us tomorrow night for Professional Fighters League action.